What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Strong Triathlete with Iron Sharp and Coach Michael McElroy here. So today I want to talk about my top 5 favorite runs, styles of running for getting faster in this out season. And really, this can be done anytime during the year. The progression of them and the specific layouts will look different. But these are some of my favorite running setups to get you faster. And obviously, these are not all done in the same week. And easy runs are obviously built in there as well, but I'm not going to talk about easy runs because that's kind of understood that easy running is going to be mixed into the program. So the first one is intervals. And this is something that is most of these, I'm going to talk about how I do things a little bit different than what I've seen out there. So the intervals that I like to do, I actually like to do intervals where you're completely stopping. So especially this time of year, it may be 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 60 on, 60 off, 400s, intervals, things like that, where you're actually stopping during the rest interval. And the reason for that is I want you to work at a little bit higher threshold or a little bit higher pace. But I don't want to get, I hate to say junk miles because it's not really junk miles if you're just doing 30 seconds of easy recovery or a 200 easy recovery between 400-meter intervals. But I don't want to waste that during this time of the year. So say we're doing 8 or 10 by 400 with a full minute or two rest where you're just standing or hanging out instead of easy jog and recover. Same thing if you're doing 30 seconds on the treadmill, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, set the pace, hop off and stand there for 30 seconds and recover, get your heart rate down and then get back after it. So you can work a little bit more intervals at a little bit higher pace than you would if you were easy jog recovering in between those paces. So try that out. I would start with short intervals, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Like I did this morning, I did it on a 4% incline because I wanted to get some hill training in. So I did 30 on, 30 off on an incline at a pretty high pace. Next would be hill training. So if you're not working in specific hill training, not just easy runs through a hilly route, which is also good, but specific hill training. So you're developing that the hip flexor strength to drive that knee up a little bit more. You're developing the glute and the hamstring to drive through the ground a little bit more to propel you up the hill a little bit more. If you're not doing that and at any point in time during the year, then you're missing out on strength specific leg strength development and run strength development that could be utilized. It also gets you able to run longer courses that are hilly routes with a little bit more ease if you can develop that strength in the out season. Then and it makes your turnover and your cadence stronger, and your, like I said, everything in your hips and your knees and even your ankles and your Achilles, everything in there stronger, so it can withstand a little bit more later on during the year. Next is going to be trail running, or if you don't have access to a trail or if you can't get to a trail, fartlek style running. So trail running is great. Just again, it makes you pick your feet up a little bit more. It makes you stay more focused on what you're doing and where your feet are hitting. It's going to force you, I guess if it's a hilly route, if it's a flat route, then this is different. But if it's a hilly trail, then it's going to get those hills and the down, the descent where you're having to learn that higher cadence because you're lowering yourself down the hill, getting that impact on the quads. And it's just different terrain. It's going to help your feet and your ankles get stronger in those unstable terrains, which is going to help with longevity in the sport just in general. So you want to get in the trails. Fartlek style is a little bit different. Fartlek would be if you, like I said, if you can't get into a trail and you just want to mix things up, it's a long run, easy run. Doesn't have to be super long, but where you're mixing in intervals off feel. So you may, see a stoplight up ahead and you're going to run harder to that stoplight, and then you'll go back to an easy run, and then you'll run harder to the next street, and then you'll go easy run. So you're just mixing in intervals off feel. It's also known as kind of like a play long run. So look up fartlek running if you want to, or more detailed description of that. But basically that's all it is. It's just kind of play with intervals. That all the intervals don't have to be the same speed. All the intervals don't have to be the same length. You're just playing with different gears and learning your different gears throughout. Next is going to be a progressive run. So this is kind of a long run, but you're going out. Basically I go easy on the way out and then feel it out on the way back. So easy on the way out and then slowly pick it up. If you're feeling good, you can really push it on the way back. If you're feeling kind of okay, you can push it a little bit and then kind of stay there. If you're not feeling great, then just take it easy on the way back. But it allows you to get your body good and warmed up before you really open up and go after it. And then it allows you to kind of let your feel and get a better feel for yourself whether or not you should or should not go after it. So you don't have to go after it every time, but it's a good way to push it and get a little bit of work at threshold or a little bit above, depending on how you're feeling. And typically, more often than not, I do feel good when I'm coming back in, but it's better than starting early and starting with some specific hard intervals, and then you end up really not feeling good and you don't have any way to back out of it at that point. So progressive run is just simply building on the way. Next is going to be, and this is probably one of my favorites, is brick intervals. So not just doing a bike into a run, but doing bike run intervals. And I like this because it gets your cadence up, it gets your legs moving at that good turnover, and then it gets you out on that run. A lot of people have their good runs off of a bike and off a brick. This allows us to use that. It also allows us to get a little bit more threshold work without the same impact that a full run threshold workout would be, because it's not quite as much on the legs, because we're doing part of it as bike, part of it as run. So I like doing things like 6 minutes on the bike into a 400-meter run, or 10 minutes on the bike into a mile run, or things like that, and then it's full recovery after that. So this goes back to that full recovery piece I talked about with the intervals, but this would be an interval setup where you're doing a bike into the run. So obviously, the quicker you can change shoes, the better. I actually do this a lot on a bike where I don't have to use clip-in pedals. So I'm wearing my running shoes and I hop off and go straight to the run. But these are a great protocol for developing good leg speed and good turnover, and not giving you quite as much impact as just a run threshold piece. So yeah, that's a great one to do. I would start with something like a 4-minute bike into a 400-meter run and do like 6 or 8 sets of that and kind of see how that feels and go from there. Obviously with a warm up and a cool down before and after. So hope that helps. That's 5 of my favorite runs that are a little bit maybe different than what you've seen before, or maybe that you just haven't seen in triathlon, or maybe you just haven't done much of them. So yeah, those are my top 5 runs. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on these run strategies, or if you want some specifics to it, let me know, and look forward to talking to you again.